statue.
Bless you.
That was actually a good one, Becca. Good job.
Like a
Did I have the head shake from Lee?
3 out of 10.
3? No, only a 3 until
Maybe a 4.
Right. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Pig.
Pig who?
Pick up your feet or you twip.
Good.
Anyway, and that's what you get if you tune in to Call of Cthulhu early. You get the knock-knock jokes. If you tune in a little bit later, you get the horror, specifically on the Orient Express, and tonight in Venice. But welcome everyone else to the Iconic Productions channel on Twitch. I am Becca, the runner of this game, but not in charge. That would be JD, our producer, who without we would be lost, hopeless, and confused. And Phantom of Truth, our moderator, who helps to run the chat. Without them, well, like I said, lost, lonely, and confused. So tonight we have all of our investigators, our aggravated murder of investigators, as we decided they were called as a group last week. And we have Lee and Chris as Dr. Nellie and Ricky. We have Jenny as Gertrude, and Rachel and Paul as Charlie and Mason. There's a few more people in this group tonight who are going to be playing our NPCs, one of which is Sarah, Mason's lovely wife. And as we do our recap, we are reminded that she came out to Zurich, Switzerland, in order to watch a boxing match with Mason. He did end up winning, although I think it was pretty close. He did a nice 1-2 KO, sweet success. And then his wife asked if she could join the group and continue on, and he said yes, which, as we all know, is perfectly fine for the love of your life to join you on a Call of Cthulhu game.
It was a moment of weakness.
She just looked up at you with those big doe eyes, and Mason the gentleman just could not say no.
Yep.
Yeah. As Phantom says, you poor fool. So the group continued on and headed down to Venice, Italy. On the train, they met a young lady who was a bit bereaved over the death of her father. And she explained to the group that she was... Well, she didn't so much explain as much as her maid, BC, did, that there were several suitors for young Maria's hand. And once we arrived in Venice, the group met, well, at least one of the suitors, and in an attempt to confused everyone, as Gertrude offered up a ring that had been found in Dream Lasan. Maria took it, unsure what to do with it, and left with it. And I am positive that if she put it on her finger and fell asleep, she would be fine. Guys, totally fine. Totally fine.
I'm pretty sad that we don't have that ring anymore.
It's totally fine. You can get it back. You just have to find Maria.
And you mean Maria's dead body that we will soon discover without vocal cords and or something else?
Why do you guys think that the same thing's going to happen in Venice that happened in Milan?
It should probably just be like missing a leg or something, right? Because we already have the torso.
Yes, and an arm. So at least her arm will be fine.
That's true. Head, maybe.
Yeah.
What is that?
We have the scroll.
We have
Isn't
that
that the head?
scroll.
No, you have the
Not
scroll.
Don't have the statue part.
Yeah. I feel like we need like an icon just showing like what parts of this statue we have already.
I mean, I can put in like a picture with like some check marks on it if you would like. That will be up and in your documents file here soon. If you would like. But yeah, so the investigators have found a few pieces of the Stefgar simulacrum, the left arm and the torso, along with the head scroll. Knowing you guys got to put all these pieces together, get the scrolls assembled, read through them. Hopefully they'll help defeat or destroy the simulacrum. You are in Venice because Professor Smith had let you know that the Napoleonic army took a piece of the statue with them when he went down and conquered Italy. So you are kind of following that. That's your main clue for finding whatever piece is here in Venice. Our group discussed that they, after losing the black shirts and the fascist leader, they who was taking Maria home, they decided to go back to a hotel, get settled in for the night, and start anew on the morning. The important thing here that we need to establish, who is carrying the arm and who is carrying the torso? Is Ricky still carrying the left arm?
And yeah, Ricky's still carrying the arm.
Who is carrying the torso?
Thought he had both.
He
Well,
did not actually carry both.
I mean, yeah, he was protecting both when he was just in the hotel, but
Oh.
yeah.
Someone's got to put it in their luggage.
Yeah. I don't want it. I feel like Gertrude should have it since she was the one who whisked it away.
She is also the smallest person. I feel like
Yeah.
you should take it.
I will say, unfortunately, Mason,
Yeah.
the women cannot carry the torso by themselves.
Yeah, it took both Charlie and I, who are probably together the smallest members of the team, to get it into the taxi.
So you'd have to help one of us either way.
Yeah.
So
What is this statue called again? This it's not the simulacrum, is it?
Yeah.
It
The
is?
Stefgar simulacrum.
Cool.
It's only taken 20 episodes for me to be able to say that naturally. That's all. Easy peasy.
Cool. So what weird side effects do I get now?
It says you have weird side effects.
do I still have my rash?
No, your rash, you and Gertrude, your rash has disappeared. It's probably because of the ointment you've been putting on. But Mason, your rash has yet to disappear.
We should just give the torso to my wife.
You're the worst kind of human.
I mean, if she's gonna die anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's
You
really terrible.
really just
Jeez, man.
want your wife to live?
You do have a pen. Okay.
Doesn't matter. I'm it's fine. I'm just gonna die. A slow, painful death.
Yes, you are. Yes. Probably. Especially if your wife hears that, you want to pass off a potentially crucial object to her.
Fair.
And we haven't even told her about Louisa yet.
Oh, she would understand.
You have not. Would she understand, really? Okay. I have one. It's totally fine. Alrighty. So you guys have returned to the hotel. You got checked in. You rested. And it is now the next morning. What is the plan? What is the goal? And how can I help you achieve what you want?
Well, we know that. Oh gosh, what's her name?
Maria.
Maria
Should we-
was taken by Alberto, but that doesn't necessarily have anything. Not necessarily have anything to do with our mission at hand. So I guess we'd hit up the library.
What's this?
When
Sure.
we read the paper in the morning with our tea and cakes
Yes.
or whatever.
Good call.
You do read the newspaper in the morning. Well, who reads the newspaper in the morning? Gertrude, Nellie,
Why not?
Ricky, Mason. So everybody except Charlie. Charlie, the pastries in Italy are okay. It depends.
Why?
Do you like the buttery flaky of the French better? I mean, personal preference, really.
I was gonna say, are they to die for? No, okay. That's fine.
Do you want
Someone to what?
to die?
No.
Well, thanks.
Okay. Charlie doesn't want anybody to die. Does Mason want anybody to die?
Negative.
Wait, if we all say no, does that mean for sure somebody's gonna die?
I mean, you know. Cool.
I'm ready for murder.
Is it somebody in the party? Or
Yeah,
could it
we
be
don't
Liz?
even like an NPC or like one of us.
I don't want anyone to die, regardless.
I mean, okay, but there's a
Could it be
difference.
Larry? Can I kill Larry?
Can you kill Larry? Sure. Larry's not in Venice.
Dang it.
I know we're somewhere else, but I just mean if you're just picking out random,
People?
name. Yeah, just
Well,
why
you know,
not?
maybe Larry's dead now.
Oh, boy.
Becca has too much power.
So, you do read the newspaper and you do discover a death has occurred. What?
Why did you hear about it?
I told you guys I was ready for a murder.
Yeah, who said?
I have his last name here.
Antonio. What a
It's
suspicious sounding name.
Oh, sorry, not Antonio. Sorry, Arturo Facci.
Wait, is that the good guy that we liked? No. Cool.
Does that name sound familiar?
That name does sound familiar.
What was his last name?
Faccia? Facci?
That's the old guy
Yeah.
who had her voice.
Oh. Somebody quick, free them.
Freeze him?
Yeah, so we can get his vocal cords.
Unfortunately, he died back in Milan, and you're in
Uh-oh.
Venice, a little ways away. He was found on the roof of the opera house, impaled, throat ripped out. Sorry, those vocal cords are gone. And drained of blood.
Ooh.
Ah.
Is that it? Was it in missing?
What's our guy's name again?
Arturo.
No. Who's our vampire friend? Fenelic. Death by Fenelic.
Does
Classic.
he? I think what Ricky was trying to ask is a really good question, and that was, does he have his skin? Does it say anything about his skin?
It does not say anything about his skin.
Okay. See, here's my. Ah. Well, I need to send a telegram.
Ooh, telegrams. I like telegrams. All right. Anybody else need to send a telegram in the morning?
I am curious. Did Katerina show up in the newspaper at all?
Make a search roll.
Actually, I'm sorry, Becca. I need to make 2 telegrams.
Kilograms.
2
Lovely.
telegrams.
Unfortunately, I failed.
For
Okay.
information,
No, Katarina's name does not show up.
he failed as well, though. So if I got a hard success, am I?
With your hard success, no, Katarina still does not show up. However, you do find a short commentary piece on the death of the who patroned the arts.
Death of a patron of the arts.
Yeah, because he's not the first one. There's another guy who was a patron of the arts, and he blew his own brains out.
Yep.
You know, this guy. And so it's kind of led you, like the opinion piece is kind of along the lines of the arts are pointless. Let's all just kind of come together for the common good and, you know, fascism. Mussolini.
Mm.
All right, so Gertrude's going to go give some telegrams. Anyone else going to send out a telegram?
I have my wife here now. I don't have anyone to send telegrams to.
She asks you about how you knew that guy and why you guys were so excited about his death. I mean, not necessarily we're happy about it, but in a,
Okay.
oh, hey, this happens.
I feel like I gotta fill her in at some point.
No, that's not a good idea.
You let me know how much you fill her in.
I don't know if information is good for her at this point or if it's bad for her.
It's not good.
But okay, she might do something stupid not knowing it's stupid.
Like what?
I don't know.
You
Go
know
out
what's
with
really good
school.
for wives in Call of Cthulhu games? A boat across the Atlantic back home.
I don't know. The water in Venice is apparently sketchy, so maybe not.
Yeah, but if she's in a boat, then she's not in the water.
Exactly.
So Becca sends an iceberg at it.
As we're sitting there, Ricky, I would gesture to Mason, be like, "Come here, let's step in the other room."
Yes, Ricky?
You gotta. If she's with us, she needs to be in on it 100%, or send her home.
She's just here for this leg of the journey. She'll head home afterwards.
No, if she's with us, she's got to be 100%. She needs to know everything. If she goes home later, that's fine, but she needs to know. That's your choice.
I'll at least tell her, like, why we're here. Like, to get a piece of a statue.
When he come back and Nellie is literally just filling her in on everything.
Ah, you suck.
Okay.
I feel like my wife's gonna be like, Mason, wait, is that my name? Yeah, cool. Mason, you are not allowed to be on this trip anymore. We are heading home now.
You holding her tea and being like, and then we went into the catacombs and something awfully dreadful happened. And then that vampire thing that I told you about earlier, that thing came back. But he wouldn't actually assist us. It was very rude.
Though, I will interject, he could have something to do with this other death.
Why would you tell her that?
I wasn't finished with that, but yes, he could have something to do with this other death. See, this Arturo fellow, we actually knew him. He went a little bit crazy. See? I realized from the expression that you also have, that your eyebrows are quite high on your head, that you also think that we're crazy. But you see, we admitted him into the mental hospital after he stole Lady Katerina's voice, and then today we find out Bob's your uncle. He's now deceased, with his throat ripped out, drained of blood.
Wow, Nelly, thank you. That was very informative.
It was, Mason. I had no idea you were having such intense adventures.
I wouldn't call them adventures, more so life-endangering experiences.
Oh, no, that's an adventure.
Well,
Where's the fun if your life's not in danger? Am I right?
I mean, he's kind of right. It's okay, sweetie. I promise I'll behave, okay?
Oh God, now she's gonna die.
Please, well-behaved women have rarely made history.
How about
You're not
just
wrong.
play safe and don't die?
I will do my best.
He's holding a gun out to her.
I'm gonna just put that back in his hand and say, nope, we don't need that.
I don't know how to use that.
It's real easy. You just point and
It's harder than you think.
I wouldn't just arbitrarily hand somebody a gun unless they want to learn.
Also, we're getting some looks from the other patrons of this cafe. You know, you might not want to be showing everyone the guns
I
with
forgot we were
those black shirts.
Which is in the
I thought we were in the hotel room. I would not have done that in public.
I was gonna say, I feel like we wouldn't have had this conversation in public in the first place.
Stop throwing enough guns at the problem. Sorry, I was what?
I said I feel like we wouldn't have had this conversation in public in the first place.
Oh, it's
No, Nelly definitely did. But to any onlooker, she can immediately just be like, "Oh, I'm a professor and I'm teaching creative writing this semester. Isn't that interesting?"
We're also in Venice. Speaking.
Oh yeah, we do speak. We are speaking English. I don't know if the majority of the people around us speak English.
Yep, that's also true.
So we're probably okay on this part.
So Sarah leans back and she says, so, where's she next? How do you find the next piece of this statue?
Library.
A library? Do you know which one?
Nope. Not a little bit. I need to go look at a map.
Well, if you were to perhaps peruse a map that happens to now be in your document, you will see the Biblioteca Marciana as a potential place for you to be.
Yep, let's go there.
Lovely. This is where you head off to. Just FYI, the Biblioteca is going to be in Italian or French.
Oh,
Cool.
I mean,
Good.
French.
You know, if you need, you can always go to a university to hire a student.
I mean, what if magically my wife speaks Italian?
But also, our people at the library always die, so.
How badly do you want your wife to speak Italian?
Oh God, is it a kind of a push the roll kind of situation?
No, it's how badly do you want your wife to speak Italian?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
No, are we in Italy? Oh,
But before we go to the library, Gertrude would have just rejoined the group after sending off her telegram.
Okay. What are your telegrams?
Well, one is to Grandpapa in San Francisco, telling him that I was mugged in Milan and therefore am in need of some more cash.
Okay.
And the second one is to Officer Giovanni back in Milan, inquiring if he can please send my colleague, Dr. Nelly, the post-mortem report on our friend Antonio, fuck, whatever his name was. I keep wanting to say Fauci, and that's not right.
It's close though.
Yeah, it's close to that. But yeah.
Dora, every time I hear Antonio. So.
Toro.
Arturo, yes. Asking Officer Giovanni if he can have that postmortem sent on over so that Nelly can take a look at it.
Okay. Cool.
With all of the appropriate stops, because that's the most fun part of telegrams.
Yes.
Like,
That.
Grandpapa, stop. I was robbed in Milan, stop.
Stop.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. So you head out. You head towards the biblioteca. Hire a gondola to take you through the watery streets. And up there, you are going to, like I said, need Italian or French to read through it. And I will need a library roll.
I speak French.
So do I.
I don't.
Do we both do library?
I always figured we just hire someone.
I'm gonna use. What would that be? 4?
Can we frisk you with all of your winnings from the fight?
Okay. That's a regular success rate. We got a
I mean, what's your library use?
70.
Oh, no, that's an extreme.
Oh. I have an extreme success. That is a 14. I thought this was the number. I was like, it's a 41, but no, it's a 1-4.
I have a regular success with some luck.
Okay.
0 success.
All right. So, you are able to find the correct library. Gertrude, you start to look through records from when Napoleon's troops entered Venice on the 31st of May, 1797. After a scene of shameful capitulation by Venice's Senate. French soldiers were garrisoned in the city. Napoleon began an ambitious plan of civic reform, including disbanding many monasteries. You discover that a plague spread through the city shortly after Napoleon's troops entered. Victims experienced crippling pains in their left leg, while no physical cause could be found. Nelly, perhaps it is your bookish demeanor, but a head librarian who introduces himself as Johann Peto comes over and begins speaking to you in rough English but French.
Can I get his last name again?
Peto. Paetto.
Peto. Okay.
And he finds the topic that you are researching absolutely fascinating. And he assists you in particular with finding several official reports from the soldiers, along with There it is. The possibility of another manuscript being kept here in the library. He has to go look for it.
Okay.
But it has to do with the devil's similar.
The devil similar.
Yes.
We want
a medieval manuscript. Medieval. Yeah, that's with an extreme success, you get to start to find out about that. All right. So you receive, you discover 2 handouts, or 2 reports, I should say.
Me, just for clarity, is it still me?
Yes, this is for, this is still you. They are now both in the Players in London Google document that you guys all have access to. So I will go ahead and read this, but know that you guys can go back and check this out yourself. All right. So you there's an official report summary by Capitaine Dubois. And it's from the 16th of November, 1797. So several months after Napoleon's commandeering of the city. And it says it's a report to his acting captain. It says, "Sir, regarding the disturbances of the last 3 days, I must report that on the 13th of November, an unruly mob of Venetians gathered at the San Marco barracks gates. They defied my request to disperse. The reason they gave was they wanted me to deliver one of my privates, Jean Boucher, to their hands. They claimed that he had caused this grievous plague that afflicts Venice by evil arts. They seemed to genuinely believe this superstitious nonsense. Defying my direct command to depart, they attempted to storm the barracks and seize Boucher. I ordered the men under my command to fire. The first volley was directed over the heads of the mob. No second volley was required as the crowds then dispersed. And then put the district under curfew. I interviewed Boucher and found him a docile soul of low intelligence and little enterprise. Why, the sole loot he had been able to gather on our glorious march across Europe was an odd porcelain leg, not egg, leg. Boucher seems to think it's a prize, although I doubt any other man under my command would think so. The next day, a delegation of prominent Venetians of the district visited me and again requested Boucher be tried for witchcraft. I imprisoned them all as ringleaders of the mob. There the matter rests. There will be no further such unrest in the district under my command. On the 15th November, that occurred which I've described to you privately. I deal with this in detail in personal documents as not fitting for the subject of an official report. So to summarize, there was a disturbance as the Venetians believed Jean Boucher, one of the soldiers, was the cause of this plague, and he had brought from Paris an odd porcelain leg. You were then able to find, with the help of the librarian, find the diary of this captain. Again, this is after the riot, and it discusses what happened to the leg that Boucher had taken. So in this diary, and again, this is in your documents, so you guys can refer to it again later. It says, "Returned home last night, the 14th, most satisfied with my actions in dispelling the riot. As Voltaire said, I have only ever made one prayer to God, a very short one. O Lord, make my enemies ridiculous. And God granted it. It was very satisfying to see the looks on those fool Venetian faces as they were bundled off to prison. I hope their visit teaches them the comparative values of reason and superstition. At home, I found my cherie struck by the plague. The poor little waif is as brave as one of my soldiers, but her leg has crippled and twisted overnight. She's only 2 years old. She should not be thus afflicted. I returned to the prison and questioned the delegation leaders. They told me to talk to Boucher. So I questioned him again last night. I also pored over that strange artificial limb he so prizes. My leg ached as I handled it, and aches to this moment. Is it that the mere sight of this truncated limb in porcelain stirred some vestigial memory in my agitated mind, so that it felt as if my own left leg were amputated? I took the leg from Boucher and tried to break it, and it would not break. I tried to burn it. It would not burn. It is not porcelain, but some strange and yielding substance that not even diamond will mark. That damned out delegation was right. It is something evil, although I defend Boucher. He has merely carried it here. I'm not going to admit my folly to those Italian fools. I realized what to do at last. The idea was so fitting that I burst out into a loud laugh. Last night, I buried that cursed leg in secret within the San Marco Basilica, under the black paving stone in the chapel of St. Isidoro. To my delight this morning, my dear little cherie has recovered. She is as bright as ever. Today, I hear from the medical staff, too, that the plague is steadily abating in virulence. I've given orders that the delegation be quietly released. That fool Boucher waylaid me this afternoon. He wants compensation for his prize. The claim will go long unanswered.
So I guess we know where to look.
Indeed. However, if you talk to the librarian about needing to look at the San Marco Basilica, particularly St. Isidoro, he lets you know that he, like, how to put this? It was burned down a while ago. It has since kind of been rebuilt, but it might have a different layout than what the old text. So you guys are gonna have to go through and probably take a tour of the church.
Works for me.
Yeah, I like doing those types of tours. They're fun.
You guys do? That's so weird. I never knew.
Yeah, we've never gone on any. It's kind of weird how that happened. Like 5 times.
Like, not at all. So with your extreme success, Nelly, the librarian lets you know that he can get you that devil's simulaire probably by this afternoon, if not tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell him to not go visit anything anytime soon. Just to look for the thing.
He kind of looks at you and goes, I should not visit anything?
Yeah, just keep looking. Look until you find it.
Okay, and then I can go home.
Yeah, you can go home. That's allowed. That's good.
Good. All right. All right.
I will then go and tell my wife why he's not supposed to go anywhere.
Lovely. I imagine that Sarah and Charlie were just having a lovely morning talking to each other because everyone else is doing this weird stuff, but whatever.
Yeah.
She's trying to figure out what is your favorite kind of car to drive. Because she's never driven one. Oh no, seems much too scary.
I tell her that's why it's fun.
Well, maybe you'll have to give me a ride sometime.
Absolutely. Once we get our hands on a car.
You guys never steal the cars, right?
Nope, we've never stolen a car.
Not for lack of trying.
I'm pretty sure.
I tried so hard.
I could have swore she stole one already.
No, me and Ricky borrowed it, and we got permission too.
That is all entirely true. Alrighty. So you get out of the biblioteca. It's around noon at this point, and there's two things that you guys notice right away. The first is the foul odor in the air, and as you kind of look, you see there is a oily sheen to the canals. The second thing you notice is a nervous young man who seems to be rehearsing a speech or something as he kind of walks back and forth in an agitated way. As you guys all step out, he kind of looks up, sees you, puts up a hand, and then hurries on over to you guys.
Were you rehearsing something for us?
Bonjour, no. I am Giorgio. I am Maria, and I are lovers, and I need your help.
Yes, of course.
I would love to help you, for sure.
You would, but I have not even told you what I need help with.
Let me guess. You need help finding Maria because Alberto whisked her away.
No, and I know where Maria is. I know where she lives.
You just need help getting her out of Alberto's evil clutches.
I mean, yes, see. So, may I take you to lunch and explain to you my story?
First question, how did you know to look for us?
Maid.
Well, I was at the train station last night, and I saw you try to help Maria. It did not go very well, but if I had tried to enter in, there would have been a fight and 6 black shirts and 1 of me. It would not have gone very well, unfortunately. So, but I saw you help her, and you are her friend. See?
Acquaintance.
So she will ask you to visit her, and you can perhaps help her choose wisely and choose love.
Have you told her?
He kind of looks around as you guys are standing in the square. Make a search roll for spot hidden.
That would be a hard success.
You see a glowering black shirt standing a little ways away underneath a lamppost, kind of glaring in your direction.
I see.
I probably don't see that at all because I just fumbled.
Oh, no. Gertrude, but you understand what Giorgio is going through. And you understand why Maria would fall for this passionate outbursts of love and affection. I mean, you did once.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And so you're buying this whole love story thing. You're into it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Cool. Yeah, we are supposed to visit her. I believe she's supposed to take us on a tour. Maybe we can get her to take us on a tour of the whatever place we're supposed to be going to.
A tour to which place?
Well, she was gonna walk us
San
around town.
Marco. But Mason is talking about the Basilica of San Marco.
Oh, I can help you with that. I do not think she wants to leave her house today. After all, her
Yes, her father.
father's funeral will be in 2 days.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Well, it's always good for people to get out.
Well, we should pay our respects first and see what she feels like then, Mason.
Okay.
So are we going to bring her some flowers just to check up on her then? Yes, that's a great
Yes.
idea.
Yes.
Flowers. Oh, the thought of that. Oh. Georgia.
Didn't think of flowers.
Yes, flowers. Flowers would have been a great idea. Oh,
Chocolate helps too.
chocolate?
Yes.
How does it help?
No, it helps. It's like flowers. It makes the ladies happy and like you more.
She likes chocolate and flowers. Okay. I can do this.
And diamonds.
Help me. Thank you.
That might be a little bit much.
Yeah, a little bit much at this point. I think flowers are good. Chocolate is acceptable as well.
Please let me treat you to lunch and you can help me some more. And then I can take you to this basilica you need to go to.
Sounds good, Giorgio.
Thank you. So he leads you across the way to a cafe. He has a table inside so that anyone on the street cannot just stand and observe you guys. It's kind of tucked back in there. There aren't any big windows or anything. It's very nice. I don't know, Charlie, if you're willing to try that carbonara with the egg cracked on top with some bacon and fresh pepper, and then you kind of just stir it all in, and the egg cooks from the heat of the noodles. But once you try it, there's no going back.
I'm ready.
Sounds pretty good.
Completely. Totally ready. So you eat, or you all eat, as Giorgio tells you about kind of his plight. He lets you know. So the Stagliani's, Maria's family, is old Venetian. Her father was proud, and he refused to give his consent to Giorgio Gasparetti, his proposal. Giorgio is kind of a hothead. You guys soon find out. He thinks more with his heart than with his head, and he likes outbursts of affection and emotion. And as it continues, he lets you know he has been working hard at his job, and he is dutiful in his attention to wear down the opposition of Maria's father. However, with his death, all those hopes have been dashed. He has absolutely no doubt. He tells you in between sips of wine that he is positive that Maria's father was murdered by Rossini's black shirt thugs. I mean, this man is a true Venetian. How could he just fall into the canal? That doesn't make any sense. But what can you do? Rossini's in the government and a fascist. No one can touch him. He tells you about how there was a riot, a fascist-led riot at Christmas. Communists had barricaded themselves into a house, and the fascists set it to fire, where several communists burned to death. And he's just trying to explain to you about how it's clear that if we were to remain in the ways of our fathers, Venice would burn down just like that. And this love that Maria and I have is a breakdown of the old order and the emerging power. Those who can rise above and who can work hard and show that they too are worth something. The Stagliani funeral is the day after tomorrow. It's out on a small island in the lagoon. And Giorgio, assumes that you will be invited by Maria, but perhaps, you guys could join him, help him out, kind of give him a little bit of social standing here. And he's very much hoping that as he's able to pay his respects, perhaps Maria might be able to act on that gesture and choose a man for herself. But do you have any other advice for me? Anything else I can do to make sure that she and her father know that I'm worthy of her love?
Well, maybe don't come on to her at her father's funeral.
Respect boundaries are usually very appreciated, yes. You might also consider getting a handkerchief, not for your nose or her nose, but for your hands. You seem like a nervous type, and nobody wants to be touched with sweaty hands.
Oh, that's a good point. Start wiping
gonna
his
say-
I hand him the napkin.
Thank you. It ends up like just threaded.
Is he wearing a jacket?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can also use the inside of your jacket if your hands are sweaty. Or if you happen to not have a handkerchief,
Like that.
you blow your nose and your
I like your technique.
your socks. Just don't be too sweaty. Don't sweat on her.
I would also, and I'll say this in a very hushed tone, I'll say you might be wary of your followers.
My followers, I'm not a leader.
Your, what's another word?
Tail.
Pursuers?
Tail?
Tail, yeah.
Pursuers?
Yes.
I have a tail?
Oh dear.
I was just gonna say, hey, there was a guy out by the library who was staring at all of us and you specifically. So
Oh, pursuer. Oh, there's somebody following. Oh no.
Did you
That is worrisome.
do something?
Me? I mean, I may have gone to visit Lady Maria this morning because I was still there from last night.
Oh,
Maybe she followed me from her house. This is
What-
troubling.
what kind of a visit was this?
You visit your wife, no? Sarah just starts cackling.
Cool. Works for me. I see.
Help me understand by visit. Were you talking with her?
There is some talking.
Anyways, we can move past this. However, be wary of your trail.
Discourse, intercourse. I didn't realize your relationship was at that
You
kind
want
of.
to know if we had passionate love making? Is that what you were asking, Sir Ricky?
Precisely. I was under the impression you might have just been waiting outside of her house. I did not realize that you were a suitor. I thought you were
Ricky, a loser.
No, I'm just that you knew her in the biblical sense. But, that clarifies things.
I am Italian, and I am in love. These
Okay.
things are natural.
I just thought you were stalking her, and
We made a different impression.
Then, yeah, we saw her get into the car of that one dude. That's not the word back then. we saw her get into the car of that one chap. Fascist one? Are you a communist? Are you a fascist?
Am I fascist?
I'm aware that's
No, he's not fascist. He is.
Is he a communist?
He is hot-headed, idealistic.
socialist.
Communist.
These are different things. Shh.
No.
Listen.
He's communist.
Hey,
Sorry.
Yeah, so he is a communist.
So he already has a big black X on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, good.
All right.
I guess from here, I'd say after we've eaten and chatted, head over to the chapel.
Sounds good. All right. So you, even though you guys are on very urgent business, and you had heard that part of the basilica had burned down, it's clearly been rebuilt, and so even though perhaps it's newer than a true historian would want it to be, it is still a thing of beauty. There are 4 bronze horses from Constantinople that are rearing up above the entrance. The vaulted ceilings rise high into the darkness. Numerous chapel houses with icons of sad-eyed saints and tourists are everywhere. Where are you going?
It says that there's like marble. I'm trying to read this. Like marble mosaics. Is that right?
Yes.
Did they try to like recreate it, or did they build it differently than it was before?
It looks like they recreated it. After Napoleon had ransacked the city, taken most of the stuff away, things had burned down. Since then, which was a little over 100 years ago, things have been returned, and it has been attempted to be rebuilt in its former glory.
But the librarian did say the layout had changed.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Does anyone here know their saints? I fear I don't.
Wait, no, they're saints. What saint are we looking for?
I think it's
Saint
it's a
Isidoro,
Isidoro.
You know who would probably know that?
our tour guide.
Oh, I was gonna say your tour guide, or the good little Catholic boy, who makes sure to stop and pray and visit the priests anytime you guys are in a nice chapel, right?
Do we have one of those?
That's what Ricky is doing in the chapels, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So I'd ask Ricky, who is Saint Isidoro, and where do we find his
Or
Catholic
body?
church.
no, his.
Isidoro. Is that how you spell his name?
I
ISE?
don't know. I'm not from this area. But
Isidoro. And
And we're trying to find his chapel
yeah.
inside the basilica, or
His grave.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there will be small chapels. Ricky, you know Saint Isidoro, was murdered by being dragged by galloping horses, losing his left leg in the process.
is he a real saint or is he a big saint?
I'm fairly certain he's a real saint.
He's Saint Isidore.
Isidore of Seville.
If he's a Seville, let me see.
Or he
I
was
love
murdered by
that
being
every-
pulled by horses.
Interesting. So I'm curious if this. Well, never mind. The statue was before Saint Isidoro, though, right? Statue wasn't an after Saint Isidoro.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm asking is the leg of the Sedefkar simulacrum actually Saint Isidoro's leg, or is the leg something that's been around much longer than him? I demand an answer. You can't be quiet on me. What if I roll a history roll correctly? I have a 5 in it. If I
Sure,
can
roll
get
a history roll correctly.
I didn't get it.
Okay, then I don't know. I can't answer that question for you.
Okay, so I'm now under the impression that the entire Sedefkar simulacrum comes from body parts of deceased people.
Oh boy.
Or the saint. Oh wait, he died from being dragged around and his leg fell off, right? Okay.
Or at least that's what this mosaic looks like. Here in the small chapel that Ricky has led you to.
New theory. The leg, since his leg fell off, is now replaced by this left leg, and so we have to get into his coffin and open it to get the leg out of the coffin, which
Okay.
sounds like
That
risky
sounds
business.
delightful.
More zombies. Woohoo!
You mentioned that the horses at the entrance of the church were from Constantinople. I would like to take a good look at them and see if there's any writing or anything that I might recognize on them.
Yeah, any scribblings or anything?
Okay.
I think it's not the weird looking one that looks like.
I guess I could read through the little intro thing again.
I'm looking probably for anything specifically in Arabic, since that's the language of our scroll.
We are also looking for a mummified body of Saint. Oh. Yeah, Saint. Oh, that's of Saint Marco.
Solo.
Oh,
I completely miss the mummification thing. We're looking for a mummy.
well, it says it's a mummified Marco.
You're in the wrong country.
No. No, it is true that what it's saying is that the remains of a saint are there in the church.
Oh, is it Saint Isidoro Capolaicase?
It's the hard part about looking up.
All right, I see that it says these 4 horses have been here since that time, and now there's autographs on those horses. Is there anything that looks old, like old, original, that kind of thing? That's what I'm looking for on these horses.
Needed a spot hidden roll.
I succeeded.
Hey, and as you guys succeed, don't forget to put a check mark next to what you succeed in.
Was I supposed to roll spot hidden as well, Becca?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
So we are inside the basilica. This is a dumb question because I know we are.
Mhm.
And we've got a tour guide who is Giorgio.
Mhm.
You're not a real tour guide. Can Nellie kind of like survey, like, so I guess I'll ask this question in reverse because then it's less information. Can she note areas that are not accessible to the public? There we go.
Yes, there are plenty of areas that seem to be inaccessible to the public. Closets, doors that are shut, gates that seem to be locked to little back areas out in the courtyards. Yes.
Are any of them, so like, say, like, for example, at Westminster Abbey, they had one of the queen's tombs closed off, like, for cleaning. When I was there, I was mad. Is there, like, would she note that there's any chapel that's inaccessible?
Today that you are there, no, it seems like all the chapels seem to be accessible.
Can I? Okay, so the mosaic is on the ground, right?
Well,
Like, are you looking for the black stone?
No, the mosaic that we were looking at with the horse and the leg and that stuff.
so the horses, the 4 bronze statues outside the basilica do not seem to have any writing in them. As you guys go in and then through, you are able eventually with Giorgio, with what you guys know of the saints, find the chapel of Saint Isidoro. It is a tiny and very dark recess, almost filled just by the tomb itself. Yes, Ricky.
My brain finally worked together to figure things out. In the Basilica of San Marco or Saint Mark are remains or relics, as Catholics would say, of Saint Mark. In the layout of a lot of churches, especially traditional Catholic churches, they often have them in the shape of a cross. And so smaller chapels are off to the side. So the Cappella di San Isidoro, or the Chapel of Saint Isidore, who, fun fact, is the patron saint of the internet, and his feast day was actually this past Sunday on the 4th. Yes. So Saint Isidore was a farmer and a worker from Spain, from Seville, and he had a quest during his life to gather a lot of knowledge and put it all together in a book. Like, he even said that what he wanted to do was gather all of the knowledge he could. And that's why he's basically the patron saint of the internet. So,
Is this
while
accessible? Continue.
the part that I got confused about is while it is the chapel of San Isidoro, it is actually the remains of Saint Mark, who, yes, was drug around through the streets of Rome by horses, like you were talking about. So that's where I got off, because I was like, wait, Saint Isidore or Saint other things, as I was looking at other pieces, but we'd be able to easily find those rings and do other things. But trying to access them would be a big task.
Yeah. I figured that one.
And I don't know where Saint Isidore may or may not be buried.
Oh, so
It's Saint Mark. Saint Marco.
Mark's relics are in the Isidore. That's a catch. Okay.
Or in the chapel of the Capella de Isidore.
Okay.
Capella di Saint Isidore. Isidore.
So
I got my head.
Ricky explains all of this to you guys, minus the internet nonsense.
Internet.
You just sound silly.
Oh, do you mean the patron saint of knowledge?
Imagine having all the knowledge of the world at your fingertips. That would be cool, right, Nellie?
Everyone would just be so intelligent. There would be no use for school anymore.
Said to multiple teachers.
I'm also referring to, the idiots that exist in our country at this
Right.
point.
Right.
But yeah.
I mean, we
Which lawyers know all about.
of farmers, day laborers.
Okay, the patron saint of day laborers, farmers. Okay.
So, Becca, what do you have for us?
Well, I had all that information. No, I did not. Thank you to Ricky. You guys have a lot more information than you may have had. But so you are able to find the chapel for Saint Isidoro in the left transept. It's a very dark, tiny recess filled by a tomb with two bronze winged lions on either side, and the mosaics over the altar are at first only glimpsed in piecemeal because it's so dark. But as your eyes accustom yourselves, you see they are the saint's torture and martyrdom by being dragged by galloping horses, and in particular, his left leg seems to be torn off. So, where are you guys going to look?
Can I access can I touch the back wall where the picture is?
Yes.
Can I knock on it and see if there's any hollow spots?
Yes.
Oh, wait.
And then Giorgio grabs your hand as the tour group comes over and kind of stands almost in the middle of you guys. Clearly nobody understands personal boundaries or the fact that you guys were here first. Because somebody else comes up right next to you, Charlie. Giorgio's kind of holding your hand down. But this other old gentleman puts his hand up on the mosaics and is rubbing his palm all over it. And the tour guide is giving off a very lengthy speech. However, since none of you guys speak Italian,
We got Giorgio interpret.
get it. Giorgio kind of mutters something about he's talking about the architecture. It's not that interesting.
Okay.
I'm interested in architecture.
For a good 7 minutes, as you guys are all kind of standing there awkwardly, hey, we weren't here first.
Also, I got it on farmers and day laborers. It's a different Isidore. See, that's the problems that I was running into. There's different saints and different things. He was a bishop and a cleric and a scholar who invented the period, the comma, and what was it? And the colon. So he'd be a saint of students. But anyway, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Astray.
But no, it does not seem, Charlie, after the group moves on, and if you return to kind of wrapping on that back wall, it does not seem to have anything hollow behind it.
What about under
Under,
us? Our
under
feet?
there are paving stones.
Are
Can I
there-
like jump
Hold
on them to like see if there's any
Are there black paving stones? That's what we're really looking for.
Make a spot hidden. And Charlie, you jump around.
does anything move?
No.
Dang it.
Touchdown, extreme success.
Are we doing spot hidden?
Yep.
I'm really bad at rolling.
There you go. So,
Is it a success?
Yeah, that's a success.
It's a success? Is it like a
Yes.
crit success or just
no,
like,
no, no.
I have 31 and I rolled 31.
Yay! Mark it. Let's improve that.
Good math. Okay.
Wait, that wasn't spot hidden, right?
Yeah. But, and then I was going to ask if anybody has geology in the science.
That's a negative.
Okay.
Can I? No, I don't.
Nope, you cannot.
What if I roll a 1? It's fine.
So, you guys, with your successful spot hidden, watch Charlie jump around and notice that, yes, one of the paving stones that she's jumping on is a darker stone than the rest. Not only is the stone darker, but even the mortar surrounding this stone is darker. And it seems to be a poorer quality than the rest of the floor.
Hmm.
The pavings, the mortar is crumbling. The paving stone itself is a peculiar dark and shiny stone.
Is there a door to the chapel that can be closed by normal people?
There is not a door. This is not one of the warded off areas that Nellie was looking for.
Are there any of those like stanchions with the ropes nearby?
No. I mean, you could go out and look for one if you'd like.
Okay.
Interesting.
Really nice.
Charlie really wants me to start grinding out this mortar with my filleting knife. Not gonna do.
I'm gonna grab a knife and then do it.
I'm not gonna let you do that
Why not?
while the tours are happening.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't. And
We need to stop picking at the floor because something else that I'm reading that we see in this area is that there's a huge mosaic masterpiece which has 1,300 pearls, 300 sapphires, over 300 emeralds, and 400 garnets. Like, they're going to be watching this area very closely. So we need to strategize here, like make a distraction before we start, trying to steal stuff from a church in broad daylight.
yeah, and I was gonna say we also don't have to do this like right now.
Yeah, I fully agree.
I'm sure I have fairly decent chemistry skills since that is what I was doing when I blew up my lab. So I'm sure I can come up with some sort of solvent that will eat away the grout and let us pick this stone up.
I also have a screwdriver and a pocket knife. I feel like that'll be fine.
I would also mention to the group that both myself and Ricky have been having side effects ever since finding these items, and I would be hushed, of course. And so it might be worthwhile for us to learn something about the stone on top of this, because it could protect us from these negative effects.
Also, I think the most important thing is that didn't we read from the stuff with Capitan Dubois that he went in at night to bury it there? So maybe we should do similarly.
Mm-hmm.
At night.
We're going to break back into the church.
Right, or hide in it, something.
Sounds really right.
I'm okay with hiding, but also I feel like, well, I don't know. 1920s, I guess there isn't like crazy security, so.
They ain't got no cameras.
Quick question. Who got either a hard or an extreme success on their spot hidden?
Extreme.
As you guys are standing there discussing this, you see someone who looks a lot like one of the gentlemen from last night walk past your group. One of the black shirts has followed you to the Basilica.
I'll say we should go check out the rest of the areas and spend some time in those as well.
What are you one of the black shirts?
One of the members of the fascist party.
Oh,
Thugs.
okay.
So to get suspicion away from this area, I would suggest that we spend lots of time other places.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do for the rest of the evening.
All right. What is your plan?
I have an idea. Disguise. And then I'd stay here for the rest of the day. Keep an eye on the area in case there were other people. Because if these fascists are after it too, I don't know. Or if everybody else is. But
The fascists are probably just after us, to be
I
fair.
was going to try and ditch them.
Because isn't Maria dating one of their leader dude?
Mm-hmm.
Also the little
Giorgio.
she's, having passionate Italian affairs with Giorgio.
Apparently.
There is that.
Honey, you're flirting with literal death.
I heard Ricky propose that he hide himself in the chapel. Would you hide yourself overnight? Would you?
I would basically work to hide myself somewhere in the Basilica and try to keep an eye on the chapel as best I could and try to be able to let people in. Because I'm sure that there'd be some way I could find a hiding place whenever they are locking it up. I'm assuming even if they don't lock it up and had it open for some reason, that at least at night there'd be less people and we might be able to dig things out.
Yes, you see several places, Ricky, that you could probably hide until nightfall, which really is only a few hours away. So after Mass, nightfall, they might lock it up, but if you were inside, perhaps you could let everybody else in?
Bingo.
Okay.
Gertrude would look for some solvents of some sort that might work to dissolve the mortar. And
Okay.
obviously some replacement mortar.
And during that time, I would have the rest of the group have any sort of fascists that were around us or trying to follow us. I would try and lure them away to a different area so that we could lose them and then go back.
All right. Mason, are you thinking that the group all stay inside the chapel or leave to lure perhaps the black shirts out and then return at night?
I was thinking lead everyone away, minus Ricky, who might stay behind to let us in later, so that we could basically get eyes off of Ricky.
Mhm.
And then eventually get eyes off of us.
You are fairly certain that a good way to do that would be to visit all the other chapels, leave, head back to the hotel where they already know you are, and then perhaps sneak out of the hotel and sneak back here.
I like that.
Okay.
I'll meet
Okay.
you guys at the hotel then once I get my supplies.
So she's gonna go look for those supplies. Charlie, I mean, Nellie's not here, but is there any other supplies that you think you would want to get for breaking into a, basilica, lifting up a paving stone and escaping?
Maybe a pry bar.
A crowbar?
Yeah.
Okay. Gertrude and Charlie, you are able to find your materials that you would like.
Cool.
The group kind of splits up. Sarah helps you, Mason, with your ruse. Is loud, is distracting, and really quite captivating. As
Perfect.
you remember from me.
Perfect.
Night falls. Ricky, could you please
Or something?
stealth? Make a stealth roll.
I need to push it. Okay, I need to. If I pushed it, I can burn some luck on it.
How much
'Cause I'm
luck
like-
you got burned?
10.
Well,
Yeah, you can spend 10 luck on it.
Hey,
dang.
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
I need to be stealthy, and I'm so close.
All right. You are successful. You are able to hide. It is cramped. It is uncomfortable. It's a little cold because it's all stone. You are able to smell the incense, hear the music, and the chanting, the call and the response. And you hear the evening mass end, and you are fairly certain that your friends are back outside the gate. Charlie, Mason, and Gertrude, as you sneak back to the basilica from the hotel, I need you all to make stealth rolls.
That's what I was afraid you were going to say.
I pre-rolled that one because I knew you were going to ask. And I succeeded, but it's only a success. It's nothing special.
Okay.
No. I'm trying to debate if I should push, and I don't think I want to push it because. Fine, I'm gonna push it.
No, don't push it. Don't push it. It's a trap. Wait, actually, what is your stealth?
My stealth is only a 20.
Don't push that.
I got a 29.
Just push it.
No.
No.
Spend luck. Spend
Fail
luck.
to push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So failing a push is a fumble.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there goes my success.
How'd you do, Charlie?
I did not succeed.
Okay.
I can be very persuasive, though, if people want to talk to me.
Yeah, and I'm charming, so
All right, cool.
I like how that's all you say.
Totally takes you back to the basilica without being seen at all.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, you know what you're doing.
Totally. Yeah.
You knock on the gate that you guys arranged to meet Ricky at. And the silence stretches. And as you hear footsteps approaching, that's where we're going to end for tonight.
No.
I knew you were going to do that.
All right. So this is where we're going to pick up next week. So yes, we will be meeting and playing next week. The week after, April 19th, we will not. Iconic Production is taking a nice break. We're giving JD the week off so she can go party. Because she deserves it.
Totally.
But next week we will see all of our lovely viewers, all of our lovely investigators. JD and Phantom will be all back. And we will see what the investigators find beneath the paving stone in San Marcos Basilica. And who are those footsteps? Oh, I'm sure it's Ricky. It's fine. It's fine, guys. It's fine.
It's totally fine.
Totally fine. So yes, thank you to all of our viewers for watching. Thank you to my investigators for playing. Thank you so much to JD for keeping us on the air, defeating those gremlins. You did it. Rah, rah, rah. Without you, I mean, we would have been lost an hour and a half ago. So thank you, JD. You have been spectacular all evening. Thank you again for Phantom, for being our moderator, for throwing up all of our links and everything. You can check out our Redbubble swag. We got to 10 viewers, which means our final tarot card was put up. And those tarot cards are designed by Kelly Peck, the same artist who did our frames. She's just delightful. So send her much, much love. She also created Friday Nights frames, the Adventures in Gevercan, It Gets Worse. And we just really like everything that she does. So besides Redbubble, you can also go and check out Chaosium.com, see all the Call of Cthulhu goodies. A lot of it is free. You can get a lot of stuff to get you guys started on your own Call of Cthulhu game. So head on over there for anything that you see and or want. Then, to kind of just top it all off, we are moving closer and closer to being back in the studio. And as we do so, we're getting super excited about this, but it helps us kind of return to our gaming community. And we have awesome support from a local game store, Petrie's Family Games, here in town. And it's wonderful that they're supporting us now. And you'll soon be able to see some of the sweet merchandise that they have that you can go and pick up if you are here in town in Colorado Springs. But everybody should support their own family local game store. Viewers, you can support them, you support us, and thank you so much. We can't do this without you. Support us with your likes, with your reviews, with your subscribes, and also if you would like, you can go over to Patreon and support us over there at all the various levels. You get access to this show, you get access to our D&D show, you get access to podcasts, and the ability to name some of our NPCs, such as a librarian tonight. So just some of the fun things that we get to do to interact with you guys. So thank you so much. We love running games, we love playing games, and we can't do this without you. So we are appreciative of you. So thank you all again. We will see you in a week. Hope you have a lovely night and a wonderful week. See you later.